Hey everybody, I'm going to tell you my story, how I started my bookkeeping business, and I did it with no experience, and I did it honestly pretty quickly. Let me tell you exactly how I did it. So, I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit of background information. This is going to start back in 2016. So, I was in the Army for 4 years, and then my wife and I, we decided to move back home. And then I got a job working at Chewy. I was a manager inside the warehouse. Honestly, it was a good job, but I knew it was not for me. And then I started working at Amazon. Meanwhile, I knew I was interested in personal finance. I knew I was interested in investing and just business in general. So I decided to do a quick Google search and I quickly learned that accounting was the language of business. So using my military benefits, I decided to go back to college for free and I took my very first accounting class because accounting is the language of business and I wanted to learn more about business. I know it's cliche to say this, but I quickly fell in love with accounting and then I wanted to start working as an accountant immediately. But I realized I didn't have any work experience, I didn't have any certifications, and I did not have a college degree in accounting. So I couldn't just get a normal accounting job. I got creative. I learned I could start a bookkeeping business with no experience, no certifications, no credentials, no college degree. So that's what I did in October of 2020. So I decided to start my very own bookkeeping business. This was the first business I ever started. So in November of 2020, I needed to learn basic business stuff. How do I set up an LLC? How do I get an EIN? How do I get a business checking account? Those types of things are pretty standard across the board, whatever type of business you're starting. Then in the second and third month, in December and January, I needed to start doing marketing and sales because I didn't have any clients. I didn't have an online presence. I didn't have a reputation. Nobody even knew that I was starting a bookkeeping business. So I hit the ground running. I went to social media. I started doing marketing on Facebook. I started doing marketing on LinkedIn. I started reaching out to people. I started looking up local businesses on Google. And I just went crazy with marketing because I was still working a full-time job, but I had no clients. So I had a lot of time to dedicate to marketing. I was determined to get my first client, and I did just that. I got my very first client in December of 2020, a little bit more than 2 months after I started my bookkeeping business. Okay, so now I'm starting to work with clients. It's the winter of 2021, and I quit my full-time job in March of 2021. This was just 5-ish months after I started my bookkeeping business. I thought I was crazy. My wife had full confidence in me. My friends and family thought that I was absolutely out of my mind. I just landed an awesome job at Amazon. I was making $100,000. People were telling me, "What are you doing? Why are you quitting your job? You've got a great job. You've got kids. You've got a family. How can you do this?" But I did not like my job and I knew I was passionate about starting a bookkeeping business. I loved it. I loved marketing. I loved sales. I loved bookkeeping. I loved helping business owners. So, a couple things here. I had a large savings already. I knew if all else failed, I could at least pay my bills for the next 3 to 6 months. So, if you are an aspiring bookkeeping business owner, before you quit your full-time job, I recommend make sure you have a little bit of cash saved up. Also, I landed a pretty big client in February of 2021. By landing this client, I was able to be fairly confident that I knew for the next 2 months I have at least enough work to justify quitting my full-time job. So I quit my job in March and I worked so hard in 2021. I made about $70,000 in my first full year net income as a bookkeeping business owner, but I promise you, I worked so hard. I got up early, I worked through lunch, I stayed up late, I worked a little bit on the weekends. Don't ever let anybody tell you that starting a business is easy. I tell everybody, if you want to start a bookkeeping business, you got to do 4 things. You got to learn bookkeeping in QuickBooks, you got to learn sales and marketing, you got to learn how to actually deliver customer service, and then finally, number 4, what nobody wants to talk about, you got to work really, really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. You have to work hard if you want to be successful. Okay, now let's fast forward to 2022. So this is my second full year in business. This honestly wasn't too long ago. This was my second tax season. So 2021, my business was really new. It was my first time owning a bookkeeping business during the tax season. Now, fast forward 12 months, it's my second tax season. So my business is a little bit more established, and my business grew pretty quickly in 2022. I actually rented an office for the first time. I knew I had to get out of my home office. I was working out of my basement. It was good for the first year, but it wasn't realistic if I wanted to focus on my business and grow my business. Not necessarily because I was meeting clients every single day, but just because I needed my own space. I needed to feel like I had a space where I could focus and work outside of the house. I did hire someone. So that's another reason why I got my office. I hired somebody in January of 2022, but they quit after the first week because they wanted a full-time job. I wasn't prepared to give them a full-time job. And honestly, I'm happy that they quit because I was able to work all of 2022 and do all of the work myself. So I was able to save up a lot of cash. I was able to get all of my clients, and I was able to still do all of the work by myself. So I'm not upset that they quit. I think everything happened for a reason. That brings us to the summer of 2022. Keep in mind, we just got through tax season, so I got a ton of clients and I was really busy during tax season, but then June of 2022 rolled around and I freaked out because I lost a couple clients and I wasn't getting new clients. So I started panicking, I started worrying, I freaked out. I actually got a full-time job in August of 2022. I can't believe it. Looking back on it now, what was I thinking? I was crazy, but I panicked. I freaked out. I wanted to make more money. So I thought an easy fix, just get a full-time job. I got a fully remote staff accountant job with a large pharmaceutical company, and I actually did learn a lot doing that staff accountant job. I was able to keep running my bookkeeping business. I got the full-time job. I was working remotely. I had 2 laptops set up on my desk. I had 2 monitors. I was constantly working. I was constantly stressed out. And I did that for about 6 months. I would not recommend anybody do that unless you absolutely have to. In 2022, I ended up making about $100,000, maybe $110,000 in my second year as a bookkeeping business owner. And then I kept that full-time job from August through the end of 2022. Okay, I'm pretty much going to stop the video here. Now we get to 2023. I quit my job in January or February of 2023, and I am so happy I did that because my business absolutely blew up during tax season in 2023. That was only my 3rd tax season, and I got like 20 new clients in the first 3 months of 2023. Now 2023 is almost over. I'm on pace to earn $300,000 of net income just from my bookkeeping business. I'm not a CPA. I don't do taxes. I don't offer CFO services. I'm just a bookkeeper. I have 44 clients. They pay me on average $450-ish per month, and I get about a cleanup or 2 every single month. So I'm on pace to earn $300,000 a year. If you want to learn how to start a bookkeeping business, I actually made a course just for you. Check out the links in the description of this video. We also hold weekly meetings with myself and other bookkeeping business owners. We meet every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link in the description of this video if you want to sign up for those weekly meetings. All of us bookkeepers, we all collaborate and we work together and we share ideas. I usually give a 30-minute presentation. So I don't know why I made this video, just a quick summary, I guess, of my bookkeeping business up until this point. I wanted to share that with you all. I hope you enjoyed.